Hello everyone. Welcome to Law Simple, Pure and to the Core. Dr. Vaishali here. Today's topic of discussion is Law of Contract. This is a very important subject in our legal curriculum. This subject is very good for scoring, so you can get really good marks in this subject. This is very logical and very interesting type of subject, and it is again very useful for law practice as well. Law of contract is needed for CS and CA exams, plus it is there for lots of competitive exams, for like example for LSAT, for UPSC and MPSC. So this subject is there in lots of other examinations as well, and it is really easy to understand law of contract. So what is there in law of contract? In India, law of contract is provided in Indian Contract Act 1872. Under the Indian Contract Act, two types of contracts are covered, or two types of subjects are there because of that: general contract and then specific contracts. So general contract as well as some specific contracts are covered in Indian Contract Act 1872. The year 1872 indicates that it is Pre-Independence Act. So this act is enacted by Britishers before the independence, but it is passed by the Indian Parliament. Parliament, which was there in Calcutta, passed Indian Contract Act. So if there is a question, it is passed by whom? So it is passed by Indian Parliament, but it is a British law. Indian Contract Act is a prospective law. Prospective law means a law which is applicable from the future date. So after the commencement of the act, this law will be applicable from this and this date. So this is called as prospective law. Laws can be of two types: prospective and retrospective. Prospective means which are applicable from the date after its passing, and retrospective means which will be applicable from a date before its passing. So those are called retrospective laws. Usually laws are prospective only. Only in some cases law can have a retrospective effect, but again it should be a beneficial legislation. It should not harm anyone. It is based on British law. So as you know, entire Indian law is based on British law except personal law. Indian constitution is taken from so many other sources and British sources as well, but the rest of the law like criminal law, law relating to torts, law relating to property, law relating to contract, it is derived from British law. Now again, British law has a source in common law. Okay, so Indian Contract Act or law relating to contract in India has a British origin and it has a common law origin. It started this contract law in the customs or transactions of merchants, and hence it is a part of mercantile law. So you can see that Indian law of contract or Indian law relating to contract is derived from British mercantile law, which has its origin or source in the common law of England. Next thing, it is not inclusive or exhaustive. So Indian Contract Act is not everything about law relating to contract. So general provisions are there, but only some special contracts are covered in Indian Contract Act, and rest of the contractual situations are not covered by Indian Contract Act. Only some contracts. Now which are they? Section 1 to section 75 is all about general provisions. Section 76 to section 123 is about Sale of Goods Act. Section 1 to section 75 of the Indian Contract Act is all about general provisions, like how a contract is made, what is the capacity to enter into a contract, what is consideration, okay, what are the situations in which contract cannot be entered in, what are the situations in which contract is illegal, what are the situations in which contract is void, when the contract will get frustrated, when the contract will get dissolved, and so on. So all the general principles relating to any law of contract, let it be partnership, let it be indemnity guarantee, those are there in these sections, section 1 to section 75 or the general provisions. After that comes section 76 to section 123. Provisions relating to sale of goods. So if you want to sell some goods, what are the conditions or what are the necessary requisites are given in section 76 to section 123. After that comes section 124 to section 147. It's all about indemnity and guarantee. Again, it is a special type of contract. After that, section 148 to section 181 is about contract of bailment and pledge. After that, section 182 to section 238 is about contract of agency. So when people say that I have taken agency of this company, that contract will be regulated by section 182 to section 238 of Indian Contract Act. And then partnership law, which is there in section 239 to section 266 of the Indian Contract Act. In 1930, a park relating to sale of goods, that is section 76 to section 123, is removed from Indian Contract Act and a separate law is made for sale of goods called Sale of Goods Act 1930 by the Indian Parliament. And in the year 1932, law relating to partnership is removed or taken out of Indian Contract Act and a special act is enacted as Indian Partnership Act 1932 for law relating to partnership. The basic principles of contract law surprisingly remains the same throughout the world. Only certain technicalities remain different. The Indian Contract Act 1872 is about law relating to contracts in India and the key act regulating Indian contract law. The act is based on principles of English common law as we already discussed. It is applicable to all the states in India and it determines the circumstances in which promises made by the parties to a contract shall be legally binding on other parties. So if I'm calling my friend for a dinner in my house and then that friend doesn't appear, then I cannot go in a court of law and sue that friend that he has broken the promise or he has broken the contract, because there is no intention to create legal relationship. It is just a social invitation. So law of contract in India defines contract. Okay, so what is the definition of contract? Before understanding definition of contract, I would like to give you a very simple and practical example and then we will go through the definition one by one. As per the Indian Contract Act, all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contracts. Sometimes a question will be asked in a question paper on this. Why all contracts are agreement and why all agreements are not contract? Let us understand this in simple words. I want to sell my car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of January. So I go to my friend, okay? Suppose her name is Deepa and I tell her that I want to sell my car to you for 40,000 rupees on 1st of January. So this is my offer. If Deepa says that I want to take your car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of Jan, then this is the acceptance from her part. If she says, I want your car, but I would like to take it for 38,000 rupees on 1st Jan, then this is not acceptance. She's just making a counter offer. So I made one offer that I will sell my car to you, Deepa, for 40,000 rupees on 1st of Jan, and she said yes, I will accept your car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of Jan. So offer plus acceptance. So I made an offer which she accepted. So first you need an offer which needs to get accepted. After that, I made an offer, she accepted that offer. In legal terms, this is called a promise. So I'm saying that I will sell my car for 40,000 rupees on 1st Jan and she accepting to get my car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of Jan. So this is called as promise. So promise is offer plus acceptance. So I made an offer, Deepa accepted an offer. So it means there is a promise in between us. Now, my promise to sell my car and her promise to buy my car. So promise for a promise is called an agreement in law. Okay. Now, if that agreement is legally enforceable, if I want to create legal relationship out of this, or she wants to create legal relationship out of this, then it will be called as a contract. If I am below 18, then this will not be a contract because it is not enforceable by law. So see, first we need offer, then unconditional acceptance of that offer, which will called as a promise. So promise for promise will become an agreement, and when that agreement gets enforceable by law, so if I am a minor, it will not get enforceable by law. If I am threatening her to buy my car, then it will not be enforceable by law. If I am lunatic, or if she is a person of unsound mind, then again it will not be legally enforceable. If I am in a condition to make an offer, and if she is in a condition to make an offer, and we both intend to create legal relationship out of it, then only it will be called as a contract. And that's why if I simply want to sell my car and she wants to buy it and we promise, it will be called as an agreement. If I am underage, again it will be an agreement, right? And that's why all contracts are agreements, but all the agreements are not contracts. As per the Indian Contract Act, an agreement which is enforceable by law is a contract. So what is the difference between usual agreement and agreement enforceable by law? Let us begin. I want to sell my car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of January. I make an offer to my friend called Deepa that I want to sell my car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of January. This is my offer. She says, yes, I want to buy your car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of January. It means she is accepting my offer. If she says that I want your car but I want it for 38,000 rupees, then it will be a counter offer and not acceptance. So I'm saying that yes, I want to sell my car for this much amount on this day, and she says yes, I would like to accept your car for the amount provided by you on the date provided by you. So this is offer which is accepted. So I made an offer which is accepted by Deepa. So offer plus acceptance together, it's called as a promise. Now my promise to sell my car and her promise to accept my car, promise for a promise, is called as a agreement. Right? So in contract, something for something. Okay, there should be some consideration for a contract, so it will be called as an agreement. So my promise for Deepa's promise is called an agreement. Now suppose I'm threatening her to buy my car. Okay, so this will be just an agreement. If I am underage, okay, I'm below 18 years of age, I'm not competent to enter into a contract, then again it will not become a contract, it will just remain an agreement. So when that enforceability, okay, enforceability means if I refuse to give my car to Deepa, she can go in a court of law and file a suit against me. So that agreement plus enforceability, it's called contract. And that's why every agreement is not a contract. Some agreements just stay the agreement. If I'm lunatic or if she is lunatic, agreement will just stay an agreement because it cannot be legally enforceable, right? So that agreement plus enforceability by law, both are required for a valid contract, and that's why all contracts are agreements, but all agreements are not contracts. So first offer, then acceptance for the offer, which becomes a promise, promise for a promise becomes agreement, and agreement enforceable at law is called as a contract. Now let us learn all these definitions which are given in the Indian Contract Act. Indian Contract Act provides for various definitions. Usually section 2 of any act provides for definitions which are there in the act. So section 2H of the Contract Act provides for a definition of contract, and which says that an agreement which is enforceable by law is a contract. So agreement plus enforceability by law is a contract. So not every agreement is a contract. An agreement which is legally enforceable by law is a contract. Okay, so if I'm calling my friend for tea at my house and she says, yes, I will come to your place for tea, this is just an agreement, because we don't have any intention to enter into a legal relationship, right? So that agreement plus enforceability by law is required for a valid contract. Now, what is an agreement? Section 2E of the Indian Contract Act defines agreement. Agreement means every promise and set of promises forming consideration for each other. In short, agreement is equal to promise for a promise. So my promise for my friend's promise will make an agreement. Now, what is consideration? What do you mean by consideration? Section 2D of the Indian Contract Act defines consideration when, at the desire of the promiser, the promisee or any other person has done or abstained from doing or does or abstains from doing or promises to do or abstain from doing something, such act or abstinence or promise is called a consideration from a promise. So that consideration can be an act or an abstinence. It means to do something or not to do something can be a consideration for an agreement. What is promise then? Because my promise for others' promise will become an agreement. So what is promise? A proposal when accepted becomes a promise. In simple word, when an offer is accepted, it becomes promise. So offer plus its acceptance is called as a promise. So I am making an offer and my friend accepting that offer will be called as a promise. Then what is offer? Or what is acceptance? First, let us learn offer. Offer is defined in section 2C of the 2A of Indian Contract Act. When one person signifies to another his willingness to do or abstain from doing anything with a view to obtaining the assent of that other to such act or abstinence, he is said to make an proposal. So if I am saying that I want to sell my car for 40,000 rupees on 1st of January, that is called as an offer. Okay, and what is acceptance? Acceptance is defined by section 2B of the Indian Contract Act. When the person to whom the proposal is made signifies his assent thereto, the proposal is said to be accepted. Okay, so for any valid contract, we need an offer which must be accepted by a person to whom it is made. Offer plus acceptance will be called as a promise. One promise for another promise will be called as an agreement, and when that agreement gets enforceable at law after fulfilling all the other conditions, it will be called as a contract. So definition of contract is really interesting. There are so many other chapters in Indian Contract Act which we are going to cover one by one. Before that, I want to tell you one thing. I stay in US, I work here. I'm a professor of law from India. I'm teaching law since past 16 years. On the request of my student, I started my YouTube channel just for you, my students. So if you really like to know something else about law or some other topics in law, please leave a comment and please try to subscribe and like the channel, because I'm running this channel just for you or just for the benefit of my students. So you need to provide a topic list which you want me to cover in my next lecture. That would be highly appreciated. Thanks a lot. See you in the next lecture. Goodbye and good luck.